starting out in the Little Ituri Forest. The forest is home to animals that rely on camouflage for protection, so we'll look back behind all of the bushes and the trees, this thick vegetation, to see if we can find any friends. Oh, up on the hill to our left, there's a bongo. That bongo has a copper colored coat with some white stripes on their backs. Looks like there's another one in the bushes down here too. If we look further out to our right, there's an okapi walking around as well. That okapi has some black and white stripes on its legs. And our friend that's licking its tail there, that is the greater kudu. That's another species of forest antelope. They look kind of similar to the bongos, but they have a much lighter colored coat. They share those white stripes on their backs, which is going to help them camouflage and blend in with their surroundings. Both species of antelope, especially the bongos, are known to be the ghosts of the forest because they can hide and camouflage so well. We can even see one up here munching on some bamboo. Now straight ahead of me, I'm also seeing the tail of a black rhino walking around. Now she's a little difficult to spot. Let me see if I can come around and get you a better view. She's gonna be up on the hill here on the other side of the grass to our left. Black rhinos, there only used to be about 5,000 of them left in the wild. Thanks to conservation efforts, that number has since doubled. But they have pointy upper lips which help them grab onto the branches and all the leaves here in the forest. That is going to help her find her food. They don't have to bend or reach too far. We can kind of see her from behind there. Yeah, there she is. Out to our left, back by the wall. Got those funky looking horns. Their horns are made of a material called keratin. Keratin is the same thing our hair and fingernails are made out of. So they do actually shave and shape their horns just like we shave down our fingernails and cut our hair. As we cross over that watering hole, we are heading out of the forest and now into the Sapi River. Sapi River is home to aquatic animals, so you can look in the water for things like bubbles, ripples, and waves. Any sort of motion we might find nearby that could tell us there are animals. I am finding some feathered friends. Those are the pink-backed pelicans. And oh, there are 2 Nile hippos down there in the water as well. One of them's pretty fully submerged there, the other one's just barely poking out. Nile hippos do spend a lot of their time under the water. They can hold their breath for several minutes at a time by plugging their nostrils closed and pushing their ears back. This does even allow them to take naps underwater at the same time, so they can fall asleep and come up for air naturally when their bodies really need it. I think that would be a pretty cool superpower if I could have it. Now, although the hippos spend a lot of their time under the water, they are not known to be the best swimmers. Instead of swimming, they will typically run or walk along the bottom of the riverbank. This is going to help them get to where they're going a little more efficiently. Hippos are very heavy, so they do not float. They will sink down to the bottom of the river. As we cross over this bridge, you can keep your eyes out to your left and your right. See if we can find any crocs down there. Crocodiles are known for having that big toothy grit. Their upper teeth protrude over their bottom lips, so even when their mouths are closed, you can still see that big smile. This is a great way to tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. So if you ever find yourself face to face with one and you need to figure out who it is you're dealing with, those teeth are going to help you figure that out. But if we look to our right hand side now, we'll find a baobab tree. This baobab tree marks the entrance of the savanna. Now the savanna is going to look a little different than the previous ecosystems we've seen so far. The river and the forest were both full of some very thick vegetation, which gave those animals a lot of room to hide and to get away from their predators. But the savanna is going to look a little different. It's much more wide and open. We will still see some vegetation, but it's not going to be as dense as the forest. Trees like that baobab are important to the ecosystem out here because they provide the animals with an extra source of hydration. That tree is full of thousands of gallons of water. So the animals, they can poke holes into the trunk of the tree, which allows all that water to drain out, and they can use it for drinking or bathing, whatever they might need. Already as we come down the hill here, I'm seeing a couple of friends. There are some Maasai giraffe way out there in the distance. I will definitely get us a better look at them. Closest to us on our right, I'm noticing the Ankole cattle. Those Ankole cattle have some huge horns on top of their heads. Those horns are about 5 feet long from tip to tip. They are one of the only domesticated animals here on the reserve, domesticated by the Watusi people, so sometimes they're also known as Watusi cattle. They weren't domesticated for their meat or for their milk. They're actually kept as a sign of wealth. Now, because camouflage is a little few and far between, some of these animals will instead rely on either groups for protection. We can see a good example here on our left. These are the African painted dogs. The African painted dogs are laying in the shade underneath that small green tree. You may just see their spot patterns there. Sometimes they're confused for looking like hyenas, if that gives you any idea of what they look like when they're up and running around. Pretty cute, but not so cuddly. The African painted dogs are one of the most successful predators in all of Africa. They have about a 90% success rate, which is typically due to the fact that they hunt in their packs. We can use the phrase strength in numbers to refer to them. Same with the sable antelope that are out here on our left. They also find strength in numbers. Those are going to be one of the only species of prey in Africa known to fight back against their predators. The sable antelope are very territorial and protective. They do rely on their herds for that protection, but they're actually the emblem of our reserve here in Harambe. They represent us and how protective we can be over our own wildlife. We want to help out these animals in whatever way we can, including these giraffes. We are driving through right now. This is what we call a tower. I'm sure you can gather why we call them that. They are going to be the tallest land mammals, reaching about 18 to 20 feet tall.